So the cryptocurrency mining craze is still getting more and more popular, and guess what that means? In 2018, there will be much more hardware released that targets the miners who are buying up all our precious graphics cards. Now, Enermax is launching this, the MaxTytan 1250-watt mining version. We don't normally cover power supplies, but the MaxTytan is something special. But before we get into that, I want to give a huge shout out to Fantex, Corsair, and Cooler Master for sponsoring our CES 2018 coverage. Without them, this just would not have been possible. There are a huge number of challenges when setting up a dedicated mining rig, and the MaxTytan 1250 watt is meant to address a number of them. To actually make a profit, you will need to carefully balance power consumption, heat, and the mining components you end up choosing. The PSU plays a big role in that equation since using a higher efficiency unit will lower your electricity cost and could also increase the longevity of other system items by delivering cleaner power. The MaxTytan addresses the efficiency question by offering 80 plus titanium certification, which means it is able to deliver about 100% of the incoming power to components. That's a huge deal for the mining community, provided the initial buy-in cost is low enough to make it worthwhile. Every miner wants to be on the top of how their components are behaving, and Enermax has thought of that as well by including a power meter that displays the log's real-time energy usage. With it, you'll be able to better tune a system to deliver maximum output while optimizing electricity needs. With 8 8-pin GPU connectors, Enermax is obviously targeting miners who are using power-hungry graphics cards, and just in case things start to get too toasty, the MaxTytan 1250 has a turbo mode switch to crank its fan up to 3100 RPM. If that still isn't enough, all the components being used are rated for continual operation at 50 degrees Celsius. Enermax doesn't have a price for this beast quite yet, but I expect it to cost a small fortune, and that will probably lower its appeal for some miners. The MaxTytan wasn't the only thing that caught our attention in the Enermax suite. They're also showing off 2 new all-in-one coolers, the Licktech 2 and LickFusion 240. Let's start this off with the LickFusion. The entire intent behind this thing is to light up your build since it incorporates 2 TB RGB and more RGBs around the pump area, which have a control box in case your motherboard doesn't have an RGB header. Our only concern is the TB RGB fans are supposed to be tuned for silence rather than pushing air through a dense radiator. That could cause some performance drop-offs, but we'll know more once we test it in our lab. Finally, Enermax has their new Licktech 2 AIO on display as well. This is followed up by a second generation design to the flagship Licktech that I tested on AMD's TR4 socket not too long ago, and it was pretty impressive back then. Supposedly, it has been improved even further by using the shunt channel technology to boost thermal conductivity and eliminate heat surge. The radiator and pump have also been upgraded, so we expect performance to be even better. Personally, I like the fact that Enermax decided to go with a bit more subdued RGB LED design on this one. It's well integrated and doesn't scream at you like the LickFusion does. It also happens to be available in 3 sizes, 240mm, 280mm, and 360mm, but final pricing hasn't been announced yet. So that wraps up things here at the Enermax booth, and I'd like to know if you are willing to give their mining power supplies or new liquid coolers a try. As usual, stay tuned for more content from CES 2018. I'm Ebro with HardwareCanucks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.